Hello, everyone. I wish you a very lovely day today. Today is the day after Valentine's Day, and I'm still bringing you a lot of love. We have with us today my very dear friend, Melanie Taddeo. I will not introduce Melanie to you because I really want her to share who she is, what is her story, what does she do. She's a very, very special lady, and I am so honored to have her on my Share Your Shine North Star series. Melanie, welcome to our show, and I'd love for you to introduce yourself.
Thank you so much for having me. I truly appreciate it. My name is Melanie Taddeo, and let's see. I'll start with, at the age of 21, I suffered a massive stroke that left me completely paralyzed on the left side and legally blind. Now, I know that sounds really terrible, and it was back then. It really was. My life was turned upside down. My dream in life was to become a teacher. Everything I had done in preparation was for that goal. I was that little girl in the classroom, in your bedroom, putting all stuffed animals there and teaching them about ABCs, all those things. That was everything I had done. Volunteer work, going to extra classes and courses. And then suddenly, at the age of 21, just like that, my life was turned upside down. I had to learn to walk again, talk again, be independent, and actually then learn to live my life as a blind woman. This wasn't easy because, of course, there were so many different aspects to it. The anger, the depression, the anxiety of it all, and then hearing people say, it's okay, you're disabled, you can stay home. What? I was 21. So after a lot of great people coming in and out of my life, I had a choice to make. Was I going to be that individual that stayed home, or was I going to embrace my life and move forward? My family says I'm stubborn. I personally like to say determined. It sounds much nicer. And that's what I did. I followed that dream and became the first legally blind teacher to graduate in Ontario. Yeah. This was a huge feat for me, but yet nobody would hire me. Another barrier, another stumbling block, but I'm creative. I think outside the box. And I started a charity called Connect for Life that helps individuals with disabilities access education and training programs to help them reach their goal of independence, just as I had, because there wasn't a lot of programs and services to assist me with gaining my independence back. So I wanted to make sure that nobody faced the barriers that I faced in going to school or training myself to reach my goals.
Well, thank you for sharing your introduction. That's an incredible human being right in front of us. I really acknowledge you for being so powerful. Tell me something about the book that you wrote. What is your book called?
My Unforeseen Journey, Losing Sight, Gaining Vision. And this was a long time coming. I've been told for years I should write a book. I'm talking 20 years. And I thought, I have nothing to say. What would I talk about? And they said, share your story. But I had no idea. No, that's not true. I did write a book the first time, I'm going to say about 10 years back. I reread it before I wrote this one. And oh my gosh, I was angry. I was a miserable person back then. I hadn't come to that acceptance stage when I wrote it. And it's nothing I would ever publish. But a couple of years ago, I received an audiobook for Christmas. And I sat there listening for hours on end. And I remember telling my husband, I'm so inspired. This woman's story is so uplifting. And he said, that's why you need to tell your story. You need to share. And I actually said to him, who would want to hear my story? And he laughed and he said, you don't understand how inspiring you are and how many people you have. But he planted a seed. I, again, determined, stubborn, whatever you want to call it. I did, of course, what any normal person would do. I'd Google how to write a book. And thousands and thousands of links came up. I had no idea where to start. I knew that, yes, I wanted to share my story, but I didn't want it all to be about me. I wanted to find a way to share my story that every reader would walk away and be able to adapt it to their life. Now, there's not a lot of people that lost their eyesight at the age of 21. So I wanted the book to be about unforeseen change in your life. You know, a death in the family, breakup of a relationship, a loss of a job, or let me say, the COVID pandemic.
Absolutely.
Things you can't plan for. I didn't know about
Absolutely.
COVID when I wrote it, but I did have this amazing publisher I worked hand in hand with who helped me be able to do the best of both, share my story, as well as give tangible takeaways for the reader to adapt to their own personal situation.
That's very important. Wow. I really love the title, Losing Sight and Gaining Vision. That's so powerful. And having said that, I would like to know if you are willing to share what is your, like, is your blindness curable? Where
Oh,
is the medical, like, where is medicine in present times? You know, how would it serve your situation, your condition? Is it ready to help you, or there's still more research needed?
okay.
Where are we at?
All right. So I have optic nerve atrophy. So that means my eyes are fine, but my optic nerve, which attaches your eyes to your brain and sends the messages through, is what's damaged. So
Right.
for optic nerve atrophy, the only way to help cure that would be to replace the optic nerve. And they're doing testing on rats right now at this stage. So perhaps in my lifetime, that will be a possibility. But there's so many eye conditions out there that they're doing amazing research, and there are coming up with solutions and ways to help slow down the loss of eyesight, as well as to sometimes help get some of it back. So I think it's so important. And of course, these are not things that happen overnight. It takes time and money, but I think it is vital. But for my own eye condition, nothing for like the closest future, I don't think. But that's okay, because as I mentioned, although I lost my eyesight, I've gained so much insight. My vision has expanded.
Well, thank you for saying that. When I was doing so recently, I've been in a personal development and emotional intelligence training program. And in that program, there's a team of us taking the course. One of the ladies there, her father passed away, and his wish was that, don't send me flowers at the funeral, but, if you can, then make a donation to a research foundation. And this research foundation is a pediatric retinal research foundation. So I was curious, okay, what is this about? And let's go find out and read about it. And then, then I discovered like Stevie Wonder has, similar kind of eye loss of vision. And then when I read that, I was really surprised to know that loss of vision can be a genetic disorder as well.
Mhm.
And and then it starts early, and within the first 10 years of a child's life, a child who has that as a genetic disorder can lose his or her vision. And so it brought into my mind a friend that I had in grade 2. She had a white coating on her pupils, and she came in when we were in grade 2. She was not with us from kindergarten. And then I think she left when we were in grade 6, coping with, blending in, because we didn't have in those days. I'm like in grade 2, I must have been in the late 70s. And, there, like, I was born and raised in India. So there was no such thing as IEP or assisted technology or things like that. And I really got to see the girl's struggle. She used to be angry. She used to be frustrated. She would have to hold her book right up here, rest her cheek on it. And like we point a finger on a page, her eyelashes would touch every word. And then only she could read and read very slowly. And there were some great kids that were supportive, and they would help her take her eye drops and like help her clean her face when she was, when she finished eating. And then there were some kids, they're kids and they're not that present, and they'll just go and play and leave her alone. And how frustrating that was for her. And like bumping into things, she couldn't go anywhere without holding someone's hand. It was very sad. Like I really started remembering her, and I went looking for her all over Facebook to see if what happened to her. I really want to know. And I thought it is very important, because unless I've realized that, because I've had a personal experience with a friend who sat next to me sometimes. And then I had someone in my family, she was my dad's caregiver. Towards the last years of her life, she became blind. She had diabetic retinopathy. I hope I'm saying the right thing, sounding very learned. However, she had lost her vision. And it was very sad to see her in that state. She was such a powerful giver. She looked after my disabled aunts who could not move. She was their arms and legs. She took them everywhere. She gave them a shower. She took them to the washroom. And that same lady couldn't move. She couldn't go anywhere without hurting herself. She was in a really like very sad situation, and it breaks my heart when I read about the foundation and the research they're doing, and the kind of what's the impact, what are the kind of people who are suffering. I really got present to how I want to do something about it. I really want to do something about it. Now, I don't have the skills and the capacity and the knowledge to go and like fix someone's eyes. I'm not a doctor. And I don't want to be stopped. I want to do something. So that's why I said, okay, I'm going to participate and, support this. And I will be part of the fundraising campaign. And the first person I thought of was you. And I said, okay, I am going to invite Melanie, and if she's open to sharing what her struggles have been, for people to really get present to what they are going to do if they support this foundation. How are they going to help create the future of medicine so that the world can see and there's no one left behind? And that's so important.
I think
Now,
it's great.
sorry, go ahead.
I think it's great what you're doing. I think that's lovely. And it's such a kind gesture of the gentleman who asked for that, as one of his dying wishes. I also think, yes, it is so important for people to do research and find solutions, but sometimes blindness can't be cured. So it's about making accommodations in life of how to embrace life with vision loss or with life. I don't like to say vision loss because everybody has a vision without eyesight, let's say that. And
I really love that.
Yeah, so I think, if I could just share a couple struggles on a regular basis, okay?
Right.
How many people walk into things? So, when you wake up in the middle of the night, it's dark and you're trying to get to the washroom or whatever, and you accidentally bump into the wall. This is my norm.
Right.
This is the norm. Okay, so because I don't see now, I have my white cane that CNIB has helped me train to use. So now I can be independent, but I still have those days where I bump into things. They always say don't cry over spilt milk. I can tell you, crying over spilt coffee is even worse. I knocked my coffee several times. And of course, it takes me longer to do certain things, such as use the computer, even though I have assistive technology. Things aren't as easy as they used to be. But again, looking back at, like you were talking, years ago, there was not even all those things that we are now. So we can pick up our smartphone and it'll talk to me. It'll read me my text messages, my emails, and help me stay connected. Whereas before, a lot of people with eyesight loss or vision loss don't have that. Right. Didn't have those opportunities. So yes, all of us, whether we have lack of eyesight or just having a bad day. We have bad days.
Right.
So we just want to make sure that although perhaps our eye conditions will not be cured, do we have the tools to live a life that is fulfilling for ourselves? And whatever that means to us as individuals, that's very important as well.
Right. Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing that. And to add to that, the pandemic, what was it like for you to navigate through that?
You know what? It's interesting because for me, it was amazing. And I'll tell you why. It sounds so terrible. COVID-19 was a tragic time. I had many friends that lost loved ones, and it was so upsetting to watch the news and hear about all the deaths. And it's a scary time for so many. But for me, it was great in the sense that with Connect for Life, we were blessed to receive funding because of the pandemic to help us offer all of our programs virtually. And so we were able to help individuals with disabilities, all different types, stay connected through developing their skills in radio broadcasting, life skills workshops, as well as public speaking courses, so that they didn't feel isolated and alone. They felt like they had someone they could connect with and stay in touch and learn at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
We were able to reach over 200 people and serve over 200 people this past year with this funding. So for me, it was amazing because I met so many incredible young people across Ontario looking to better themselves, develop skills, and also looking for somebody to be connected with.
Right.
There was huge gaps, the anxiety and the stress and the fear that they were feeling because of the lack of services, the lack of care with PSWs and doctors, things being cut and programs being stopped because of the COVID pandemic. But being able to stay in touch and listen to what their concerns were and let them know they weren't alone, it was the most amazing and rewarding year in that sense. Now,
right.
As far as COVID, of course, scary, of course, like everybody else.
Right. I hear you. Well, thank you for sharing that. Now, I'd like you to go back in time and recall what was your North Star moment. When did you see your North Star? When you realized, like the first time when you realized that, oh, you can't see. What was that struggle like? And then when did you see your North Star?
Okay, so I have two quick stories I'll share on this because
Yes.
there's 2 points. The first one, I was in the hospital still, and so I couldn't move at all. I was in the hospital bed, couldn't see a thing. I had care around the clock. My family would take turns coming to feed me, bathe me, things like that, as well as, of course, great nurses. And it was one of those really busy days in the ward, and the nurse came and plopped my lunch tray in front of me. And I was starving, and my aunt was delayed on the subway coming to me. And I was determined I was going to eat something. So I'm touching on my tray and I find this small plastic container of Jell-O, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I only have use of one hand because of the stroke and I couldn't see it. But I was determined I was going to open it. So I ripped it open with my mouth and slurped it back. And you can imagine I had Jell-O from head to toe. It was a mess. And in walks the hospital chaplain. And he's like, how are you doing, Melanie? He had seen me a couple days, a couple times before, but I really didn't want to talk to strangers. I didn't know who it was. So he let me know who it was. And he said, how's your day going? I looked at him and said, I'm covered in Jell-O. How do you think it is? He's like, I understand your frustrations. You've been through a lot lately. And I'm like, you think? I was a little angry at this point, a little frustrated, feeling a little embarrassed. And he really brought something of importance to me. He said to me, Melanie, yes, your life has changed. It's turned upside down. And it's normal to be angry. And I asked him why God hated me. And he said, what? And I said, why would he do this to me? How? And he said, no. This is not, God doesn't punish people, And he said, things happen for a reason. We don't always see what those reasons are. But you have a decision to make today. I'm thinking, today? I'm covered in Jell-O. I'm not thinking about any of this big, deep stuff. But he's asked me, do you want to just survive or do you want to thrive in life? And at that moment, I needed to hear that. I realized that even though I was covered in Jell-O from head to toe, things could be worse. And I decided, yeah, I was going to survive, but I was also going to thrive. So that was the first one. And that was huge because from that moment on, my rehab of learning to walk, getting that independence back, it was all like party time. I was so focused. I was celebrating everything I could do with my family, with the therapists, and I was determined I was going to be quote unquote normal again. Whatever normal is, I still don't like that word because we're already.
I hear you. Yeah.
My second one was, again, after graduating from Teachers College, I had an interview with a school principal, and it was over the phone, and they were like, you're exactly what we're looking for as, you know, a middle school teacher that is teaching art. And I don't know why, again, I wasn't an advocate then, I was still new to the eyesight loss. I disclosed that I was visually impaired. And they said, oh, I said, oh, is this a problem? Oh, no, not for me, but it will be for the parents. Note to self, do not disclose over the phone ever again. But I realized that there were going to be a lot of barriers that I was going to have to face. So again, you know, that poor me idea and voice in my mind, oh, I'm not going to be anything in my life. I'm going to be that person that's at home again. But again, I had a choice. And I needed to pivot. I needed to look at what was important to me and think about what was possible. Because here's the thing, whenever there's a door that closes or whatever you want to say, something else is just within your fingertips, your reach. So those are the two moments, my North Star moments, those things that changed my life. Because I decided that, okay, maybe I won't get a traditional teaching job, but I'll start Connect for Life. And now I'm teaching and changing lives, making a difference in other people's lives. So I don't think I would be where I was without those two moments.
Isn't it incredible that you are helping other people to envision their future? So from losing sight to helping others to envision, that's powerful. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you for letting me. I appreciate
so kindly. Yes. And so what's your future plan?
Well, again, I think outside the box, of course, continue on with the beautiful work of Connect for Life. That's my goal, and I love that. But also, I have started to do some really wanting to, with, again, the pandemic, so many opportunities have opened up with Zoom, connecting with people across the globe. So I'm starting a company called Gaining Vision 2020. Pardon the pun, you know, 2020 eyesight.
Wow.
It's a company that helps organizations, schools, and businesses understand the importance of inclusion for individuals with disabilities. And I'm reaching out to South Africa, Jamaica, and India, and helping train and give insight into what that looks like for the different corporations, schools, because not everybody understands the abilities of individuals with disabilities. And we will shine a light on that. So this is the next chapter of my life.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And then I just wish you the very best. May you keep shining and shining and shining your light so that other people can see with clarity what they want to create in their future. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. And one last thing. What is your stand for the different research foundations that are working towards finding a cure for different types of vision loss and blindness? What would you encourage people with? Would you tell them to support them? I'm pretty sure every person who's lost something in their lives would want it back. So
I will, sorry, go ahead.
Yes, go ahead.
I will say this. Obviously, everybody's got their own personal take on it. Like you said, perhaps some that have had a personal connection to it. Let's look at cancer. For years and years, we've been researching, and yet still there's not a cure. But it's because it takes time and money and lots of things that need to happen. So people sometimes get pessimistic on the whole research thing. For me, I feel it's very important that we continue to do research and explore opportunities to to have cures or treatments, things that will help benefit people. Because when you are in any part of your life and you've lost something like your eyesight, something we depend so much on, it is life-changing and sometimes very scary. I will allow everybody to have their own opinion on it, but I think, you know what, every possible research, do your research about the organization, ensure it's something you feel is, supporting the right things and the money is going for the research. And definitely, if that's what you feel you should do, like the man that passed away, he felt so passionately about his asking. I encourage people to definitely take that on, because without the funds, the research can't be done.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Melanie. It was wonderful to have you on our show. I love you, I appreciate you, and I honor you. And I'm looking forward to staying in touch with you and learning about all the lovely things that you're doing. Who knows, I might just one day collaborate with you and learn some new things.
Thank you so much. And the feelings are mutual.
Thank you. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
You as well. Thanks so much.
To all those who are watching, thank you so much for watching this video. And please leave your likes and comments, and let us all cheer and support and love Melanie to her next level. Thank you.
Thanks again.
Bye-bye.